Heathen's Machine Shop is open for business. Welcome to Heathen's Garage. It's another day in the engine bay. Look at all these parts we gotta put back in. It's gonna take a long time, isn't it? Now, if you happen to miss the teardown of this engine, well, I'll show you what we found. Yeah, see these ones? The nice gold ones? They're not supposed to be gold. They should look like these ones. Now, the short version of what that means is, as near as I could tell, and I'm not an expert, but I can read, and old Melling or Sealed Power or maybe even King, they all sort of have like a breakdown of what went wrong, and they got pictures, right? And the pictures that look like that say, hey, your engine block got really overheated probably. And I know that's true because I was in the truck when I wildly overheated it more than once. Now probably that means something's warped. And what it really needs is an align hone. But what we're gonna do is stick new bearings in and see if the crankshaft turns round and round, and then figure out how much play there is after we polish the crankshaft. In the meantime, we're waiting on bearings. I figured, well, may as well give it a Redream and a quick hone and put rings in it because we're this far. It honestly hardly doesn't really need it, but you know, we're here. And I never did gap the rings for boost, and then we put boost to it anyways, but this time we'll gap the rings for boost. That'll be better. Really had this vision where it's just going to, you know, drip and suddenly be clean. Now it's not really happening. Oh, we're through 2 layers now. I think I've painted this engine every time it's been out. Apparently I never once bothered to water brush it because we're through the blue and into the red, and then we're to the actual aqua color, like to the real Chrysler color. You know, that might be silly, but that totally felt like it was worth doing. I don't have to look at a dirty engine. I get to look at an engine that's 3 different colors. Better, right? Now that I can lean against the engine without getting dirty, it's time to Redream. Now, if you don't know what a Redreamer is, it reams the ridge that forms on the edge of the cylinder where the ring sort of stops. And this one really isn't that bad, but you know, we'll take care of it anyways. First of all, we make this bigger. Now bigger. Still bigger. Lubricate this cylinder up a bit, because this is sort of cutting, and it's good to use some sort of cutting oil, or, you know, WD-40, I guess. That's what I happen to have handy. It's got 2 little things it sits on. That's so you know it's at the right height. You just sort of snug it up. Not that tight. Now, put your wrench on here. Face it towards the blade and it'll be easier. And you go around and then you tighten it up. And you go around. Oh yeah, now we're cutting. You try and do this like smooth and even, you know? It's not very interesting, it's just what you have to do sometimes. Just go round and round, see? Not so hard. When it gets easy, then you snug it up a little more. But we're getting closer. So this one now has a little lip there. This one does not. And once we hone that off, it'll be nice and smooth. Now I just got 7 more of those to do, and that part will be done. You're just not that into engine building, huh, dogs? You'd way rather be outside. Let's get some of these ales. You want one of these? Okay, I guess you do. Good boy. Alrighty, we've had a wardrobe change and it's been a few days, but at least these 4 banks are all Redreamed. Our next step is a little bit of a honing job. Now, you need to know that you have to have some sort of lubricant. Now, I like ATF best, but like I've used WD-40 or engine oil or Seafoam or Deep Creep or, you know, like anything that's a lubricant, basically I've tried. It doesn't seem to make a huge difference, but for some reason I like ATF best. Not only that, I know when I did this engine a long time ago, I used ATF because Old Man Rose told me to use ATF, so that's what I did. Anyways, get yourself a soda pop can and pour yourself some ATF of the cheapest variety. And now what you can do, once you got this, is you'll just dip your stones in it. And that's, you know, a little less messy. It's still messy, don't get me wrong. But you just take your drill and your stones and you give it a little dip. And a little dip. See, it's still really messy, but maybe this is a terrible idea. I thought it was going to be really good, but it seems like it's not. Maybe don't do that. Figure out a better, smarter plan. You turn this thing into slow, and you move quickly. And you do this, I don't know, like 10 times or so? Maybe 20 times? I've seen it done lots of different ways. All of them sort of seem to work. We're not there yet, though. Alright, let's look. First thing to note about this is, that's a really bad crosshatch pattern. We gotta try and do better than that. Secondly, I don't have enough cut off my Redream. So we're just gonna continue fighting for a little while, and maybe I'll show you if it turns out good. If you don't see it because I wasn't happy with it, that's like if we just move on to the next step from here on, that means I didn't get a hone job I'm happy with, and I have to, like, you know, talk to the wise old man and find out what I'm doing wrong because it's not going the way I want it to, I guess. Alrighty, we are on to the crankshaft. Now, I had a comment in the last video from a viewer, which is pretty exciting to me just to get a comment. But also it contains something that I believe is useful information. And that is if you tap on your counterweights and it makes a nice ring, it's probably okay. And if it makes a dull thud, it's probably cracked. Since we're dealing with main bearing failure, perhaps we could try that. That sounds like a ring. Well, that sounds like a better ring. That was Thunderstruck, AC/DC, if you're wondering. It all sounds ringy to me. I'm content, I think. Like, now don't get me wrong. This crankshaft should go to a machine shop. There's no question about that. We should have these, you know, cut, polished, undersized bearings put in, you know, get the block over and a line hone. We should do all those things. We're not going to, because I just want the truck to run again for right now, and we don't have to make the truck run again. I think we can probably put an engine together that'll stay together for a little while. We did last time, and it's just not that bad. Well, it's kind of that bad. There's probably going to be a little extra oil gap there, but that doesn't hurt my feelings. As long as, you know, it plastic gauges-ish okay, and it turns nice by hand, we'll call it good. We've got our very professional crank holder here. Drop the crank into it. Where does it go again? This way. It only fits one way. Oh gosh. There we go. Now what we can do is happily rotate this, see? It took like 10 minutes to build this. It's pretty intense stuff. You know, you need some wood and some screws. But if you're gonna attempt what we're about to attempt, I would strongly recommend going ahead and doing that. I'll get you a close-up of these bearing surfaces so you can see what it is before and after. Unless, of course, it doesn't turn out well, and then we'll just pretend that it didn't happen. So this bearing is like, you can see the brass there, and it's like pre-grooved. This one's arguably worse because it's only on one side, and that tends to mean not good things. And you can see just a little bit, if you look across this line, I don't know how well you can see it, but like it's not great, is the short version. But that's okay, because we're gonna fix it, and it's gonna be slightly better than it is right now. It's not the right way to do it, but it's the Heathen's way. So we got some sandpaper here. This is 600 grit. Got a little strip that just happens to be the same width as the bearing journal. First you put some sort of lubricant on it. I've never tried valve grinding compound, but I'm going to today just for fun to see what happens. And you just sort of put it around here like this. It's got to be long enough to loop back to itself, right? Yeah, a little bit of a tight fit there. Maybe we'll try this bearing. Should be, yeah, that's better. Then you take, in this case, a leather strap. I know some guys use a shoelace, and that supposedly works too. You go all the way around it and back. Now you got two ends, right? You just start going like this. Nice long strokes. And you do this for hours. So you're really bored. And hopefully by then, you've made some progress. And we can go aggressiver on the sandpaper, but I don't happen to have any. Just want to see what happens with this. Now, if by chance you're desperate enough that you're actually going to try this stunt, make sure you rotate the crank as you go. Just every once in a while, give it a little turn. It's not bad, but there's no question there's some amount of unequal force you're putting on it. Like, it's good because it's wrapped around, it's sort of equal, but it's not perfect. Like, if you're doing this, you're not aiming for perfect. So, this is just the way that it is. Here we go. Let's have a peek. Looks like there's valve grinding compound. Let me get that off. Hang on. Okay, well, it's not perfect, and we can work on it a little more. However, given the fact that this is the bearing that came out of it, which I don't know if you can see it real well, but it's not gone through one layer, but it's going through 2 layers. And that's the surface we ended up with, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes of polishing. I think we're going to be all right. Or at least it'll be fine. Okay? It'll be fine. Like, it certainly isn't perfect, but I don't know. This one you're looking at, maybe that's good enough. Certainly better than it was. I'll bring you back in a second when we try and fit the crankshaft and see if it actually turns. And if it turns nice, then we'll know it's good enough. And if it doesn't turn nice, then we know that it was a waste of time. Alright. Like, we're not anything like cleaned up enough or really ready for this step or anything like that. But I really just want to throw some bearings in it, plastigage it, and then see if it'll turn. Because, like, that's important to me. We're going to throw the bearings in, drop the crank in, and plastigage it. Pull it back out, see what that says, and then put it all back in and, you know, see if it goes round and round. Hopefully it does. We're obviously only plastigaging the mains right now, but regardless. Now these are Federal Mogul, I think, bearings. They're Speed Pro. 3 layers or whatever. They're supposed to be really good. I hope they are because they were kind of expensive. Ooh, we need a rubber mallet already. That didn't take us long. I thought I got this really clean. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe because there's dirt all over my hands. Maybe I should clean my hands. Alright. I don't think I can do this one-handed to even show you. I'm just going to use both hands. Alright, here we go. What am I doing? Try again, Heathen. Oh, I'm going to lose my finger. Oh, that was very close. How foolish of me. Alright, now plastigage. I don't know if you can see this stuff or if you've seen this done before, but this is plastigage. There's lots of good instructions for how to do it. This isn't one of them. You just sort of put it on every spot. Now we're only doing the mains right now because I haven't even cleaned up the rod bearing. Basically, you just lay it on your spot and then you'll bolt the main caps down and you'll torque them and all that stuff. One, two, three, four. It didn't go in all the way. There we go. I'm going to slap these in first because they're a pain in the neck. Everybody just relax. It's a drill, not an impact. You're not always going to see me use a torque wrench, but this seems like it might be a good time to use it. That's it. Now we undo everything and just take it all back off and we measure our plastigate. We don't get to turn it or anything yet. Now I'm just going to throw it out there. If you guys weren't watching, I definitely have an impact in my hand. But I just don't feel like being crucified in the comments today. Now, incidentally, I'm gonna have to look up what spec it is because I don't actually remember what bearing clearance is supposed to be. The plastic gauge I used is good from 1 to 3 thou. I think we'll have 3 thou for sure. Maybe we'll have more, who knows? Now see, there's nothing wrong with using a drill. An impact is maybe pushing it. Like, that doesn't stop me, but just saying, a drill's not an impact. It's just a little faster. Alright, pull the caps. Try not to muck it up too badly. Alright, now you can see that. And you see it's over here too. We take a little gauge and we see what it says it is. Just so you can see as well as I can see. It's thicker than 2 thou. Oh, come on, focus now. It's thicker than 2 thou, but less thick than 1.5, which is 1.75, which is like well within spec. Of course, this one wasn't wrecked yet. Let's go to the next one. Now this one, well, it's closer to like 3. And depending on where you measure, it's more than that. But in the thick spots, like the thick spots that are gonna touch, it's within spec. Heathen spec. Not necessarily Mopar spec, but definitely within Heathen spec. Now the rest of them, I scraped this one off by accident, but the rest of them are all sort of the same. Like the ends, which were good, are, you know, a little less. They're 1.5 or 1.75. These are like, I don't know, somewhere between 2 and 3. Somewhere between 2 and 3 is fine with me. That doesn't hurt my feelings. Like, even the one that's a hair over 3, that doesn't hurt my feelings either. It's good to have lots of oil in there. We got a high volume pump. It'll be fine. I'm shocked. Now the question is, will it turn? Before we dropped the crank in place, we actually had lubricated those ones already. We're just throwing a little extra on. Doesn't hurt, you know? I don't want to be spinning it over with no lubrication on brand new bearings. Now these were advertised as burnished bearings, and if anybody knows what that means, other than it looks like the bearing material has been preheated or something, let me know. I am curious. They were rated as like the high performance ones. That's what we want. We're just gonna put different bearings in and then it'll have more horsepower, right? That's how that works. You go, you jerk. Alright, put all the bolts back in now. Step number 1. Does it turn with nothing torque? Yes, easily. Beautifully, as a matter of fact. Alright. Now we torque the middleist set. Oh, easy. Does it still turn? Yes, easily. Yes, it still turns. Now this is where it might get dicey, because this is the third of the 3 that all look bad. Round we go. Come on. Yeah, we're okay. It's gonna be fine. Alright, second to last. And by that I mean the backest one. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at that, hey? We're fine. This engine's gonna be just fine. I'm not even gonna question it or second worry about it or nothing. That's excellent. That's a big old win. Get out of here, B. Look at that, eh? Isn't that nice? That's as smooth as can be. Oh, is he okay up there? He's probably fine. But as for this part, my worries are not here. They're other places now. So this is excellent. I think this is going to be just fine. I won't lie, when I saw this was the bearing set, like, I really figured it was game over, but it's not. I don't think. There's a guy could measure it and know a little bit more, but the reality is my tools for measuring are of the Harbor Freight Princess Auto kind of quality, so we don't put too much faith in them. I think we'll probably put it together and run it.
Elvis, what do you think? Is it a good day?
Is it a good engine, Elvis? Do you think it's gonna pass inspection?